Cyber Daisenryaku is a very unusual and rare game that was released for the PlayStation in 1999, and this is essentially a strategy game, but it also acts as a visual novel for many of the game's story references. So the gameplay mixes between visual aesthetics in terms of 2D elements with images and backdrops, where you interact with different characters but then transitions into a different style of gameplay at different intervals. So the premise behind the game is that you're a group of college students that are using computers to fight off hackers, and the way that you do this is by playing interactive games, almost kind of like a military style affair, where you end up fighting with the likes of tanks and other types of military vehicles in order to dispose of or eliminate oncoming threats and to destroy the enemy's bases at the end of the map. It almost puts you in mind of the likes of the Command and Conquer series, but on a more basic style level. And with the characters themselves, once you come out of the games, you'll be brought back to the interactive screen where you have to progress through the story. So you will have to witness a lot of dialogue heavy interactions with a lot of text on screen, and at different points you will often get options in order to choose different questions or answers which will determine different outcomes. Plus you also have the ability to change out different strategy elements and options to help you on your progression to win in battles. So once you go back into a computer to engage in battle once again, you will have those elements in place so that they can either help or hinder your progress depending on your choices. It's a very unique take on this style of game, in fairness, as while the visual elements of it are not often seen outside of the Japanese region, as these games were extremely popular there but weren't so popular in the European region or even in North America during the mid-90s. But nowadays they are more noticeable and people do put time into them, because we're witnessing them now more than ever as modern developers are also taking time out to develop these style of games, and they take a lot of references from these earlier titles. Now the gameplay itself, with regards to the strategy elements, the advantage that you have, even though this game was released in Japan, many of the options available are in English text and dialogue, so it definitely makes it easier to understand how to play the game and how to manage all of the different options and choices that are available. But it does end up going into Japanese text and dialogue for the interactive elements of the game when you're progressing through the story, when you come back to the visual novel references with the characters and the backdrops. But like many of these other games, because of the time and where they were released, they would be more beneficial to a modern day translation, as that would really help players to fully understand the whole concept of the game. It's definitely a different take on this genre that tries to mix a combination of different gameplay styles, and it does work, funnily enough. Now it does take a while to get into the gameplay, and it can take a while sometimes between the dialogue sections of getting into matches, but the matches are pretty much frantic from the get-go, because you don't have long to get going with making choices, because enemies will start attacking you, so you want to make sure that you take them out as quickly as possible, and also to avoid your own equipment and tanks from being destroyed. So once you've destroyed them, then your goal is to destroy the enemy base, and that will determine victory over your opponents. So it's just a case of rinsing and repeating, but each battle becomes progressively more difficult as you will have to deal with more enemies, and you can have more enemy bases on the map to destroy as well. So as you progress through the story, it just gets a bit more difficult in all regards. But you do have the option to acquire different attributes and upgrade your abilities further into the game. So it is a unique feature, and there's a lot of these type of games out there on the PlayStation that we don't know about. If anything, especially in Japan, it's insane the amount of games that are available. Like, even for myself, growing this channel, I'm seeing and learning about new games all the time. Games that I've literally just played for the first time. And many games, I will be honest, back in the day I wouldn't have played them because they just wouldn't have appealed to me. But looking at them now and giving them a try, some of them are actually quite good. Now, they do require time and patience to put into it, so that is another aspect that you do need to be aware of, as that time is an important thing. Are you going to be willing to put time into it? That's the big question. But you will find that if you do get into it and enjoy it, that'll just become a natural element. to the experience. Now these type of games won't be for everybody, but they definitely will appeal to a select few, and especially if you do like strategy games, this would be another one that you can definitely check out. And the fact is that it has enough quirky aspects about it and is very different from a lot of other mainstream games out there. It is worth a try just for that respect alone, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that do really enjoy these games, so it is worth a look in my book. And I would love to know your thoughts of this game if you have played it yourself, and what do you think of it overall, or do you even know anything about it? So be sure to share it down in the comments below, and if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be updated of future videos. And if you would like to see more content around very unique and other obscure and quirky games similar to this that are also on the PlayStation that were released in Japan, then you can check out the playlist on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.